Hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. Here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. All right, so today I want to talk about really I'm going to hopefully be able to pop up in just a moment here or here, I don't know, but I'm going to pop up a TikTok actually that sparked the purpose of this video because I immediately identified with this TikTok. Y'all gonna think I'm tripping, but F it. For the last 9 months, maybe, Earth hasn't felt the same to me. Listen, I've been able to sleep, but sleep hasn't felt like sleep, more like being awake but unaware in a sense. Time has been going by so much faster than it used to. Something just feels off, and I can't quite articulate it without sounding like one of the loonies. But if you're a loony, like me, you felt the shift too. SHIT feel like the Twilight Zone, yo. And no, I'm not high. LMAO. So I want to break down a little bit why. Because I'm a practicing witch, if you didn't know. And am I a spiritual person? Yes. But I'm also sort of a very practical minded person. So when I see things, it's very difficult for me to sort of go full in on conspiracy theories or, things of that nature. I am woo woo for the most part. However, I don't know. I walk a healthy balance. I believe some things do have a plausible explanation. And that explanation may very well simply be magic. It might be something in the realm of conspiracy theory, or sometimes it's really just what you see in front of you. And I also am someone who believes in just the magic of nature. So stay with me. Let's get into this. So time, the concept of time, and I'm going to circle back into this a little bit deeper, and I have my notes because I want to stay on point about this. So time moving fast. Let's really talk about this. I spoke about this myself. I had this feeling that time is moving faster now. And I've come to some sort of agreement in my mind that potentially maybe it's because I'm getting older and I'm more aware of time versus when the younger you are. I mean, most of us as a kid, the summer lasted a year to me. But I wasn't looking at the clock. I didn't have a schedule to keep up with, The adults kept the schedule for me. So maybe that's why. And I think that's some rational logic behind that as well. But it does, most of us collectively, or all, even younger folk are saying, hey, I notice it feels like time is moving super fast. So let's get into this. Theories. If you don't enjoy what you're doing during the day, whether it's your job, your school, if it's neither, if you're unemployed, if you're home all day with your kids, yes, somebody's gonna say it. I'm somebody's mom. Okay, trust me. The point is, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, and when I say enjoy, let's break that down. Enjoy does not mean 24/7 happy. No one is 24/7 happy. No one. They're lying. No one. If you're saying that to yourself, I'm happy all the time, well, then you're not having a human experience. At least you're not participating in a full human experience, because to be human is to be angry. It is to be sad. It is to be indifferent, melancholy. It's a range of emotions. It's sometimes up and down, happy in the moment and then sad in the next. Have you watched a movie that can make you laugh and then right after that you're crying and then laughing again? Listen, that's the human experience, so that's okay. And to be neutral, kind of like I said, indifferent. But if you are not enjoying your work, look, we'll go with that. If you don't enjoy your job, you work to live. You know what? Time has an interest, and then you're working to the week. You just work long enough to get to the weekend. And then when the weekend comes, you drink, you get high. And then it feels like you blink and it's over and you're back to this cycle, and time is just moving so fast. If this is your cycle, yeah, time is going to move very quickly. If that's not your deal and you're saying, well, I don't drink and I don't get high and it feels like time is moving really fast for me and I like what I do for a living, you're 100% right. But I'm going to circle back to that. So stay with me. Keep you people like that. Stay with me. I'm coming back for you. Stress. Okay, let's talk about stress, because I think a lot of people are feeling stress. We're all aware of current events, uh, and we go on with our day to day. So at the time of me filming this, there had just been a shooting, another mass shooting, several actually. I think within hours of each other. So, am I aware of this? Yes. Is there anything I can do about it right now? Unfortunately, no. I go on with my workday. I cook dinner. I walk on my treadmill. I talk to my friends. I make YouTube videos. I write. I should be writing. I write. Guess what? It still is. It still affects me. It's still up here and it's still in here. I You can't unforget it. You're just not processing or dealing with it, but it's in there. It's in there. Now multiply that day to day. Every couple days, every couple weeks, there's a news story. If you're on social media, and even if you're not intentionally doom scrolling, but you're finding one thing after another, whether it's relationships, whether the division about men and women, and whether it's capitalism, which is a thing, and COVID and mass, where the politics, Biden, Trump popping up every 5 seconds saying something slow, the Republicans, the Democrats. It's like keep adding these things on, and then international news, and you realize these women are going through dying, being killed for not covering their head. And in other places, the government is killing kids, and then in our own government, we still don't know what happened to those kids that were detained and put in cages. Imagine like all this all the time. Even if you don't watch, because I don't have cable TV and I don't watch the news anymore, but I get my news. It's seeping in. You're not releasing that, so it influences your sleep. Believe it or not, I had to think really hard about this for myself. Is it an energy shift I'm feeling? Is it the moon, or am I just stressed the hell out? Because I am living in this world and all of these things are going, yes, there's some really positive and good things happening, but this bad stuff is happening and I know it's happening. And I can't unknow that. So just because it's not in the front of my mind, is it affecting me? Is it affecting me more deeply than I realize? Collectively speaking, is it affecting all of us? Which goes into my next thing, nihilism. There's a growing trend toward nihilism. It's bringing on, I believe, more depression into an already depressed society. Where is this stemming from? In most cases, capitalism. We'll just start there. I can go further, but we'll just cap it at that point. Capitalism for sure. When the moment you're born, there's a cost associated with you as a human. In this world, there's a cost, especially in this country, there's a cost associated with you. So you get to the point where you just feel like nothing has meaning anymore. It's very difficult to be a practicing or a spiritual person. It was difficult for anybody, but I'm speaking from my own experience. I'm constantly taking in this new data, this new data of bad information, trying to sort it, move on, do my own spiritual work, see the positive, see the good, attract the good, be the good. But I feel like, so I'm doing all this, but what does it matter if, the economy crashes? What does it matter if everything shuts down? What does it matter if, these foreign countries, make America pay up what's been borrowed, and everything collapses? What does it matter if anarchy truly takes over and these crazy people out here, have their way and actually are more organized than we'd like to give them credit for and begin to disrupt everything, our civilization here in this country? What does any of that matter? Global warming, it's all ending anyway. We're all going to fry, we're all going to freeze, depending on where you are. You just have a sense of meaningless and hopelessness. And I really feel there's a larger number of people going in that direction, including younger folk. Um, and collectively, that energy, because I'm still a witch here, that energy is catching, um, because it's spreading. And once you get to the point where you start to say, well, why bother? What's the meaning? You have more people staying in. You have more pills being distributed to treat depression for those who have insurance. We won't even get into the depression on what that's like. By the way, try to find a mental health provider nowadays is difficult. Ask me how I know. Um, it's very difficult depending on where you live. And then if you do find somebody, let's hope it works. Let's hope you click. Let's hope it's a good match because you're back to figuring it out, and then you have a situation where they're not taking insurance. It's a whole thing. Anyway, because I could go on about that, which adds to the hopelessness, feeling of hopelessness, nihilism, and then you're more depressed again. So that shift, that energy is amongst us. It's in the air, guys. We're and on some level, most of us are feeling it. We're impacted by that. Which I'm going to go into. Let's talk about the rise of witchcraft. I'm going to pull all this together. The idea of control. So we're seeing more of that. We're seeing more and more, especially women, go more and more into witchcraft. Listen, I welcome more people to come into witchcraft. I think it's a great thing, by the way. However, I would just say this. What may initially attract is the concept that you have some level of control over what's happening in you, like your body. I talked about this in the Discord channel, A Safe Place for Witches. If you're interested, please see the link in the description. Go ahead and join that. Some interesting conversations, and we actually meet up. Yeah, hurry up and come over because we're meeting this weekend coming if you're watching this video during that week, the 29th, Sunday. But anyway, if you're coming into witchcraft and you have this idea that you can control eventually it's like you get to this master level and you control everything. I can control the weather. I can control whether illness or sickness comes to me. I can control money flow. I can control it all. The word you're looking for is not control. The problem is, even if they don't say those words, that is how they're thinking it. And that's where you mess up. And that's where you're going to get disappointed. And a lot of these people coming in will eventually fall out because it won't work the way they thought it was going to work. But those who stay, who may come in under those false pretenses of thinking there's some level of control happening, will find out, in fact, that's not what it is. It's not control. I use the term manipulate energy. And you can even take it as far as saying influence. So for me, the best way to explain it is, the wind. We don't see the wind. We see the effects of the wind. That's how I feel about my magic. It is a force. It is energy, but I'm not creating an energy. I'm working with existing energy, right? Energy never dies. I didn't create a new energy. I'm working with the energies that are already there. So it's manipulation. To be a true manipulator of energy, depending on what it is you're trying to work with, you're going to have to understand people. You're going to have to understand systems, whether it's government, business, corporations, politics. You're going to have to understand that. And then human nature and nature itself. You're going to have to understand these basic laws, universal law, physics, things of that nature, to truly understand how. Because this is where we stop talking about manifesting and we start talking about true energy work, magic, okay? When you get more into that and you want to see real results, and when I mean real, like tangible results, you need to understand those other things. It's okay if you don't know. I don't know everything. None of us do. But the things that matter to you for what you're trying to work on, yeah, you're going to want to do some research. So if I have a court issue, if I got something I'm working with the courts and I needed to go in my favor, wouldn't you want to understand more about your charges or what, if it's civil or criminal, I don't know, explain, like to understand what is Am I being sued? Are there charges against me? Am I putting charges against somebody else? What does that mean? Like in the eyes of the law, what does it mean? What are the effects of that? What's going to happen with that? So you're not making wishes for something that's not in the realm of possibility. We're not talking about. I'm not talking about miracles. Like you're being sued for $5,000 because I don't know, you burned a car accident. Your insurance only paid up to a certain point, and you have $5,000, and you're over here doing spell work saying, "I don't want to have to be able to pay anything. I don't want to be anything." Realistically, you can try that. I would go with maybe thinking. I don't know. For me, I would say all my debts are cleared. So that might mean if I do a spell like that, I'm still getting the charge. Like they'll win the suit against me, and I'll still be on the hook for to pay it. But instead, I would be doing a spell to pay it, because within the laws, the fixed laws, man-made law, that's what it is. Now, I can work with nature to manipulate the energies around that situation. The easiest solution would be to just have $5,000 to pay and be done with it, rather than spending all this work to make the lawsuit not go through and I have to pay. You see what you got to understand the system. You have to understand the system so you know how to manipulate the energies around it. Hopefully that makes sense. Because we have this influx of witches coming in, thinking there's a control factor, all those other things I was talking about, the time moving too fast, the stress of the world and world events that are very negative and horrible and things of that nature, the impending nihilism that's taking over, honestly, people right now, specifically in this country. Imagine witches coming into witchcraft believing that they can somehow, if they can't control the complete outside world, because that might be too big, they can control their inside world, and none of those bad things are going to happen to them. They're good. So we have witches coming in who might have some already mental health issues with anxiousness, depression, or other issues. And, you're thinking, why isn't this working? Well, because it can work to help you, but part of that might be when you are having these lasting moments of depression and anxiety, you have something to get you through, versus if you have nothing and then you completely spiral. If you are bipolar or schizophrenic, maybe because of witchcraft, you now know your triggers. You know a little bit more of what's happening, how you got there, because you've done so much shadow work. It doesn't take it away, but you have a better understanding, which can lead to healing. But guess what? That healing might involve working with a medical professional and medication. It doesn't make the magic less than. That led you to the point where you can even get there, because if you had not been doing any sort of shadow work or any sort of magic around this, you could have spiraled. It could have been a lot worse. There is no control. Manipulation, influence. Get used to those words. And I'll be honest, anyone who's telling you different is selling you something. They're selling you on something. They have their own agenda. They're trying to sell you something. To be clear, for me, the services that I offer over at leaptaken.com, I'm never teaching someone how to control something. It is how to work within witchcraft, which is to work within nature, to work with the elements, to learn how to manipulate the energy around certain things around you, within you. I like to always start with the witch herself or himself. Start with the witch, because it's very difficult to even fathom controlling something outside of you. When you first have to know your own mind, you have to be able to control your own thoughts within reason, right? But yeah, you have to know how to work yourself, do the work on yourself first, and then you can learn how to work outwards. So that's what I approach first. Who are you as the witch? Let's talk about you. Let's get more into you. What's your motivations? What are your thoughts? What are your fears? Like, what's going on with you? Because all of that is what you're bringing to this. That's the energy behind everything. It all starts with you. That's where the true magic lies. And we are nature. We are a part of nature. We're part of the universe. We're made of stardust, for goodness sake. So the magic is definitely us, within us and us. So I want to get back to that time, more on the time. So here are my thoughts. Remember back in COVID 2020, we had the shutdown, and things, during that time, a lot of us realized how busy and demanding our lives were. Even if you were an essential worker and you were out there working, the rest of the world was kind of shutting down around you. So in your downtime, when you weren't, helping those who were literally on their deathbed and struggling with COVID at that time and everything else, the rest of the world was shut down. So when you weren't there, you noticed, right? Everything, production for TV shows stopped, movies, everything was pushed back. So even like we had our entertainment up to that point, but nothing new was happening. Everybody was home for the most part. We had a chance to take stock. The toilet paper crisis, think back, right? Remember then? But we had a chance to literally stop and realize just how crazy life is for most of us. Then we went back to normal. The problem is normal didn't feel normal. And I think that is also where people are coming up with, I don't know, I feel like things are moving so fast. You had a taste of life moving at a bit of a slower pace. You had a taste of that for months on end. And then now we went back and, employers are trying to tell people, oh, come back in the office. They only want y'all to come in because they got those fancy buildings and those leases and those mortgage payments on those buildings. And they don't want to lose that. Also, most people at big corporations, the execs, they like to walk around and lord over people. The end. That's literally why. Don't let anybody talk. No, we did report disabled people with children, disabled people with children, the top two people right there. It works great for them. They get to do life. People who aren't being paid very much to begin with, and it costs to come in and out of work, wearing clothes and things of that nature. It's definitely great for them, which is a large part of the population. It's definitely wonderful for them. So who are you doing these studies with? You're doing it with top execs, people who make a lot more money, who don't want to be at home because that's not where they want to be. They want to be there and walking around and you smiling in their face. Hello, Mr. So-and-so. Hello, Mrs. So-and-so. That's what they want. They like that. It's their own vanity and their own narcissism. Seriously, that's what it is, in my opinion. But we all went back to this normal life. And as I said before, once you know something, you can't unknow it. So see, you had those moments. You had those months at a time where everything kind of slowed down. Collectively, right? This was happening on a global scale. Everything slowed down. So, of course, if you try to put people back into that same flow, well, now we're more aware. And you're aware that Monday through Friday goes very quickly because you can't wait to get back home. And if you are still working from home, you can't wait to be off the clock. So you can do the things that you enjoy, whether it's, creating artwork or, writing or just spending time with your friends and family or just freaking scrolling on your phone in peace. The point is, you want your time to be your time. We're all very aware that 8-hour workdays are absurd when you really think about it. You were at your best at most 5 hours. 5-day work weeks seem seriously crazy. By the way, I think inevitably that's going to have to change, not because the people at the top are going to feel nice finally and help us worker bees. No, because the school systems are going to force a 4-day work week. Or school day, 4-day, because there's just not enough teachers. This is happening across the country. If you have children, you get it. Um, less and less want to go into the profession because they don't pay enough. And student loans, trying to pay back your money, it's crazy. It's greed. It's just so much greed and capitalism. Back to nihilism. There you go. And you just kind of want to check out at that point because nothing matters, because it's like we're all just running around doing, trying to live this life, and some of us practice magic and see the bigger picture and see the astrological effects, and believe in divination and hear spirit talking to us and talk to other witches that are having these same experiences. But I still got to go to work in the morning, and I still got to be there all day, and I still got to play this stupid corporate game and make my voice sound a certain way and act a certain way, which is, I don't even understand. This, what we call professionalism, just seems robotic. Anyway, the point is, I'm going on a tangent. It feels meaningless after a while. Like, what is the effing point of doing all this? But yeah, so the time thing. Yeah, so time feels like it's moving very fast because we've been pushed back into this false narrative of a life that doesn't work. So back to that TikTok. Is it a spiritual shift? Is it the CERN? What is it? Colloidal machine? I don't know if I'm saying that word right. Is it that? Is it, some sort of astrological event? Is it, I don't know, Satan finally took over? I'm just, I'm just saying things now. Is it the end of days? Is it, the rise of this era? Is it the decline of this era? Maybe all of them. I don't know about the Satan thing, but maybe into the end of days. Into what days? The days as you know it. Everybody, end of days happens all the time. You die, people die, don't they? It's the end of days. The end. Or maybe it's just the world as we know it. It's our town, it's our counties, it's our state, it's our country, it's our families, it's our circle, it's just our lives. Maybe it's taking its toll and we can't sleep at night. And we feel we're just so disassociating more. We feel detached from ourselves, our true selves. Maybe it's that. Maybe the constant 24-hour news cycles, the violence, the consistent manipulation of the media telling us to be fearful of so much, fearful of medicine, fearful of the water, this fear. Maybe it's taking its toll. Maybe it's just too much. Maybe the human isn't made to keep consuming and having all of that negativity fed into it. There were projects and they did, like as children, they would do projects in school where you take a plant and you have it with soft, like easy music, maybe some light jazz or, classical music or something along those lines. Or even if it's, with vocals, very soft, light, smooth. And versus something that's not, for like they would do things like with heavy metal music or something that was angry. Or in the same studies, they would do something where someone spoke nicely to a plant and someone yelled at the plant at a high volume voice and a mean voice that mean things. And we could see that in the world where the plant was, treated, talked to meanly, or, it was a lot of negativity shouted at them, versus the plant that was, both watered the same sunlight, all that sort of stuff, that the other plant thrived. So we know that. And that's a plant. We're a little bit more complex, aren't we? But we know with children, this was studies found years ago, with children in orphanage who weren't held as much. They were fed, they were clean, they were dry, when they wet themselves, but they were not loved on, they were not held. Don't grow as well, kind of like the plant. So we know this thing. If you're a pet lover, if you had a rescue for those who were just mistreated, though from pups, They fed them, but they were mean to them. They punished them, they abused them, but they fed them. They don't grow the same. They're not quite the same. Um, we know this in living organisms, and we're living organisms, the effects of that. So, what do you think? Because we are more complex, it's going to affect our sleep, our perception of time. Our perception of time is going to have us disassociating more, or at all. You know, it's going to make us do that because we're going to be having these experiences where we question reality. We have all these people talking about the Matrix, and people living, we're in the Matrix, and it feels like this isn't real because mind, body, spirit, it's not working living in these types of environments. It's not a matter of just saying it's not healthy, but it's not sustainable. We're not thriving. So because we are more complex, we can come up with all these other theories. And here's the thing, I'm not fighting anybody over whether or not we live in the Matrix, but I'm just saying sometimes the magic can lead you to the mundane. And the mundane can be not nice. It can be really negative. It can be really bad. Um, we live in a world where things are it's too much. It's too much. It's too much on our young people, on children. It's too much information. It's too much on us adults. Definitely too much on us who are aging and getting older. Look what's happening to people's grandparents right now, with the influence. That's manipulation at its best. You're watching how that works, where you just start with a little something and you just keep plugging away. And now we had people so dang on confused, they don't know if they're coming or going. They believe that this Trump person is actually Jesus come back himself. They believe he was sent by Jesus. They're really saying, this is not me just being funny. There are people who truly believe that. There are people who truly believe that COVID isn't real. As someone whose mother was in a hospital for more than a week with COVID, and we got to that point and they said, yeah, we're sorry, the next step was, they're going to put her on that machine, the respirator thing or whatever. That was terrifying because at that time, this was in 2020, because at that time, those who were getting put on that wasn't coming out for life. Yeah, when it was done, because you died. And I was all the way across the country, and even if I came to see her, they were not going to let me in the hospital. And my mother has asthma. So and I had people in my own family who actually believe that the person that they're related to as well, was, for lack of better words, on her deathbed, because it was getting bad. Her fate, like I watched my mother, she has a very melanin rich skin. She's darker toned than myself. And her skin, like she was getting lighter, more ashen. And because we would FaceTime. And she was in the hospital, and I would just be on with her all day. My sister and I both were just watching, and I'm like, I saw it. It was terrifying to see that. So for someone to tell me that COVID isn't real, they're just falsifying that on people when they die records, but that's not what they died from. As I watched this woman suffer, die. How about you just die then, since it's not real? But let me stop. See, I'm going to get mad because my mom almost died. So it's like, you know what? You want to die on that? Then die. But more education has come out. A lot of those people who talk like that, some of them did die. Remember Herman Cain? I'm not laughing about that man dying. I'm just laughing at the absurdity around the whole thing. But he was a man of a certain age, and he believed it. Part politics, but I do believe the man got COVID and died. He really did believe in all that foolishness that they were touting. So let's tie this all together a little bit more. At this point, I encourage you to open yourself up because if you're watching this channel, you're probably open to a lot of different things. Maybe open yourself up to understanding a little bit more about cultural influence, political influence, and overall the world influence, societal influence, right? Maybe open your mind up to that. Why are you really not being able to sleep at night? Or you go to sleep and you don't feel rested because your mind is going at 5 miles an hour, like 10, 15,000 miles an hour. I don't know. It's going super fast. Why is that? Is it because the moon is full? Is it because of the new moon? Is it because of your diet? Is it because of all those things? Is it possibly because you're being fed things that to really be afraid about, to be perfectly honest, because you don't even know what's the definitive thing. You can only go by, I want to say science and medicine, but I mean, we know that health insurance companies are controlling how medicine is practiced in this country. So, we question everything. And it's getting harder and harder to find the baseline, like what's the true thing that we all believe in. I mean, people believe the earth is freaking flat. Like, we are in a different ballpark. We're in uncharted territory. There was a time where ignorance was accepted and wanted by those at the leaders of the world at the time. Whether they were the church and royalty. They wanted the populace to be stupid. They didn't want you. They wanted to keep you ignorant. We know this is still a thing now, right? But the problem with that is we have more technology, and technology makes us be able to talk to each other. And before, you were in your village and you stayed in your village, and you never saw anybody else, so you couldn't spread the ignorance. But now we can spread the ignorance. So, your little circle believes, the vaccines to COVID is, going to kill us all, or, we're going to grow a third arm. So you start to say that. And, then this person's circle believed that for the longest time, Black people didn't get COVID. That was a thing. This other circle believes, that depression isn't real. People just are soft now. We have a whole group of people who believe that. There's no such thing. Okay, well, you're depressed. That means you're just sad. Find something to make you happy. Like, that's how they interpret it. And I would hate to tell you that those people might be a nurse. They might be a doctor, sadly enough. Even though they might not be writing your script for your depression medicine, they might not actually be in the field of psychology. They're a nurse that you go to, so you're having physical symptoms from your depression and mental illness. And instead of them diagnosing you correctly, they're just giving you something that's not going to help you because it's up here. It's not really the body. It's here, but it's manifesting in the body. All these things are happening. You can't sleep. That's a manifestation of stress. That's a manifestation of stress. It's a physical manifestation. You physically can't sleep. Or when you sleep, you don't feel rested. Food doesn't taste the same, which is actually true. But we know why it doesn't taste the same anymore. It's not some faraway concept. It's the people. It's the people in the world. So I encourage you to open your mind up to becoming a little bit more understanding of just how big of a deal it is that we influence each other. How that has an effect on you, even if you don't think it does. It does. It influences your thoughts, your minds, your actions, why you purchased a home over here, why you want to leave the country, why you don't let your kids go outside and play like you used to go outside and play, why you have so many freaking protection spells around yourself, your kids, and your house. It does influence you. And that might be why you don't sleep well at night. Doesn't mean that you don't believe that your magic is real, that it's working. It's just that there's a bigger play at force. The will of others. And, we can get to the why. That's a great conversation to get to why. Well, why is this all happening? Where is this coming from? Yes, I do believe there are those, it's a small few who have an agenda and, overall their agenda is being There's obstacle in their agenda completely going through, because there are a lot of us who are what they say woke, um, and we're getting in their way. So they'll squeeze a little bit more until we're a little bit more compliant. I'm not erasing magic. I'm not erasing the spiritual shifts that are occurring, astrological shifts that are occurring. Those things are occurring at the same time. But at the level that most of us are experiencing this, it's us. It's us. You don't have to look out. Just look around. Don't look up, don't look down. Just look around. It's us. It's the people. It's the people. The influence of the people. And yeah, just be open to that, because once you're open to that and once you're willing to do that, then you can use witchcraft, magic, spells, and rituals to start to undo some of that. Imagine if collectively we start focusing that way. You can then go outward, get together, work with others, and start casting spells to make some real change in this world, to get these people, and then do the work behind it. Social activist, becoming an activist. If you're a social media activist, fine, spread the word. Not the doom and gloom, and sometimes the word is doom and gloom because you kind of got to explain that. But I think the worst thing is we just have people who just want to keep just talking about how bad it is. Okay, so what are we doing about it? What are you doing about it? Okay, so for me, what am I doing? I'm casting spells. I'm casting spells to make change. You know what? If it seems too big, you feel like it's just a little bit of energy just kind of just going out and fluttering out into the ethers, but it's not a big deal. Hey, start small. Start with just your community. Try to do some community work toward making some change in the community. Crime, things of that nature. Work within there. Try to create a bubble of protection and safety around the children in your area, not just your home. Try to spread that bubble a little bit more. These things will help you feel better, by the way, help you get maybe some rest at night, kind of step away from nihilism a little bit more. If make it more personal. There's someone they're going through something. Do something nice. Animals, if that's animal shelters. Get a rescue dog that's been through whatever, abandoned, abused, or whatever. Do the work. Do the actual work behind it. Cast the spells as well, though. Use the magic. That's what we can do. Witches, especially a lot of us who are practicing as solitary witches, it's very easy to kind of keep it. Trust me, I'm a cottage witch. It's very easy for me to keep it about me and mine. It's just me and mine, and let that be my overall focus, because that's the only part, guess what, I feel like I can control. So me and mine, when there's really no real control. The whole world is chaos. The universe is chaos. Everything around us is truly chaos. So we're only seeing things with our human eyes, but when you really think about it, nothing is sitting still. Nothing is stable. I have to tell myself this. Nothing is stable. And I know I'm just going on and on. But hopefully this is making sense to those who need to hear this, because I know there's a lot of us out there. I looked at the comments on that TikTok, and so many people related to that. If not everything that was said, most of it. Do what you can, but cast some spells as well, because I do believe, this is the witch in me, I do believe that if collectively enough of us are doing it, it'll work. It will truly work. We can make a dent into the energy. We can make a change in the atmosphere. It won't just be a little flutter of energy going out there from one, but if enough of those little flutters of energy goes out, then it begins to create real change. We've seen this take place. We've seen what that looks like throughout history. Get acquainted with history. Know systems. Know what you're working with. Start small if it's all too big for you. I'm saying for me, start small. Locally? Just think locally. And then you can go out bigger from there. Get with other people. Another witch, or someone who at least is an energy worker of sorts. The people who are open to manifesting, them, and they don't call themselves a witch, work with some of them. collectively spread that energy of trying to make some sort of change. And for those who want to aim high and aim big, I'm with y'all. Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all want to do. What kind of spells y'all, bigger spells? Y'all let me know. I'm with you. All right, so I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it very much, especially if you made it to the end. Sorry for any ramblings. Again, my name is Mika. This is Leap Taken. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. It does help. Consider hitting the join button to join Leap Taken membership. Go to leaptaken.com. Check out my services that I offer. And then, yeah, thanks again. All right, I'm out of here. Bye.